Okay, so I always have 4 threads with me all the time, okay, for when I'm doing my hand stitching. So that's basically the large things. Now there is here another tool which is not an essential tool to have, okay, but it is a fantastic tool. Now I will show you how to use this later on, but what it actually does is it pulls through straps. When you sew a strap and it's very thin, it's very, very difficult, or near enough an impossibility, to pull the strap through itself the right way out, okay? Because when you're stitching, you see the stitches on the wrong side. So what you need to do is bring the fabric through itself so that the stitches are then on the inside. This is a great tool to be able to do that, okay? So all tools like this, you know, when you see, say, spaghetti straps on a dress, or straps on the back of a waistcoat where the fastener is on, those have all been what's called bagged out, where the inside, the stitching is on the inside and it's being pulled through so that it's bagged out. This tool is great for that, okay? So, but it's not a total essential, but it is a great thing to have, okay? Now, near enough finally, we have an ironing board. You need to have an ironing board, alright? And I use a steam iron, okay? Now if I just show you that, see that? That there, this is what you need when you're steaming and pressing fabric, okay? It is one which has got a reservoir of water and your iron's on top, okay? So it's basically feeding the water through the iron and causing this steam, okay? Now the iron, how it works is usually all of them have a pull-out reservoir which you then fill with water, and that's what produces the steam, okay? Now again, these irons are not special irons or anything like that. They're just a domestic iron which is available in all sort of retail shops that sell that kind of housing equipment, okay? So this is just a nice iron. Make sure you get a nice steam iron like this, so that you produce really, really nice results when you're sewing. And eventually, when you get more competent, when you're sewing your garments together, alright, you need a steam iron, okay? Because ironing it's near enough, I would say 80% of the time you're ironing compared to when you're sewing. I'm always ironing and pressing all the time, and that's what makes a garment really nice, is pressing all the time. When you stitch a seam, you then immediately press it. It's ideal for that, okay? So that's your iron with a steam generator, okay? Now, again, I have here my button box, okay? And it's just full of buttons, lots and lots of buttons, which again I've collected over the years, alright? So there's just so many buttons, and you'll just collect them over the years if you really do get into sewing, okay? So I'm not saying go out and buy hundreds and hundreds of different buttons, okay? What you need to do is, when you're sewing something and you need buttons for that project, just buy the buttons you need. And eventually you will amass a collection of buttons, because you'll come back with the wrong button, or and then that will be spare, or you might not like a garment anymore, so take the buttons off that garment and keep your buttons in a sort of button box, okay? And eventually you will amass a really large amount of buttons, and then when you've got a lot of buttons, you don't even really need to go out and buy any, because you'll probably be able to find your buttons that you have in your button box. Okay? Now, the final thing which I would definitely stress to get is the sleeve board. Okay? Now, this is a great piece of equipment for pressing and ironing sleeves. Okay? It's like a very, very small miniature ironing board. Okay? And it's basically for sleeves. Okay, so you can, if you're stitching a sleeve together, and you want to press it, you just slide the sleeve over the top, and you can then get a nice pressing area without worrying about pressing, say, a seam which is underneath. Okay, you're always just working with the seam that you need on the top of the ironing, the sleeve board here, and it's just a great tool to have. I use this all of the time when I'm pressing sleeves, or even just pressing open seams and it wants to be a little bit higher off the ironing board. Okay, because you can just position this on your ironing board and just get it out and use it whenever you need to. Okay, so that there is called a sleeve board. Again, a fantastic tool to use in sewing all of your projects. Okay, so basically that's it. That's all the essential equipment that you need. And of course, yeah, I haven't shown you any fabric. Of course, you're going to be working with the fabric, but this is the tools of the trade that everybody uses to be able to sew all of your projects. Okay, now I'm a bespoke tailor and I use all of these things. A lot of things I just get from the haberdashery shop. You know, there is no difference between any, like a pair of shears that you would use in the absolute tailoring industry and ones that you would buy from a haberdashery shop. Okay, don't have the illusion that you've got to go out and buy all this really expensive gear, because you don't. All of these things produce the same results, and it's down to you how you sew it. Okay, so that's it. That's all of the tools, and we are now ready to go on to the next exercise.